sail away, and I'll be yours forevermore.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, folks, or evening.
Afternoon, whenever you're watching it.
We're having our morning brew. If you're having your evening brew, that's fine too.
Yeah, I hope you had a good day.
Well, this is a short video that
Hopefully.
to kind of fill in some gaps that we know we have left in the last few videos and answer a few questions. I guess probably the first thing to start with,
What happened to the jobs?
such a valid question.
Yeah.
The simple answer is it just didn't work out. The slightly less simple answer is we were both hired to work at the same resort to do pretty basic jobs.
It was seasonal work.
And once we got to speaking with the people there in the interviews, the logistics of us working at the same place was one of the biggest topics of conversation because we have rivers. So we had to be able to alternate our shifts so that one of us was always with rivers and back in the boat. That was something we brought up right away and made sure, that they knew that was a game stopper if it wouldn't work. And they were very, very adamant, not going to be a problem. Don't worry, we'll work that out. Don't you worry about that. We're really happy to have you guys. And we got there and we did a full week of training. But when we got to the end of that week, they started putting out schedules.
Mock-up schedules for us to try and figure out
And then all of a
how
sudden,
it was going to work. And and all of a sudden we did have overlaps. We would work through the entire week. One of us would be working, which, okay, we could deal with it. But there would be some overlap of time where Rivers would be on the boat by himself. And I don't think it was malicious. I just don't think they truly
thought it through.
And their only solution was, well, we can help you find a
You deal
babysitter.
with it. Yeah.
And it was like, no. It felt kind of like we were just jumping straight back into the world that we had worked so hard to escape 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some really hard talks about that, and like it wasn't the seasonal job that we kind of expected it to be. It felt more like we were all of a sudden going to be in like a corporate structure and work our way up and do all that. And
It just didn't feel right.
No.
And if there's anything that we've kind of gotten in the habit of, if things don't feel right, we aren't afraid to change our minds.
Right. I think it started to feel like YouTube would start taking a really far backseat to the job and to what we're trying to do on the boat and that stuff, and that felt really disingenuous.
Then it became, well, if we're still planning to sit still and work on this boat, and we'll get to that in a minute about what we're planning to do, is St. Thomas, the USVI, really the place to do it without having that benefit of those particular jobs? And the answer was not really, not when St. Martin is so close. St. Martin is just great for any kind of boat work, any kind of item you need. There's a million chandleries and suppliers there, and you can have anything shipped there for pretty reasonable. And so that's going to be a big deal for us in the coming year. So that's why you've probably heard us in the last couple of videos kind of offhandedly mention, and then we're heading to St. Martin, and then you're like, what? Why? How? And that's why. So when we get to St. Martin, we are still planning to look for work, some other forms of added income, because we're really going to need it over this next year for what we have planned. It's kind of a lot, and it's more than what we make in a given year will support. So we haven't figured out what that's going to be exactly, but we're going to come up with other ways to make some money.
Right.
It could be one or both of us working somewhere.
Right. But we're also talking about doing more ads and more sponsor posts and things like that. Things that are still YouTube related, and so we can like build the YouTube instead of building some outside company. We were also talking about Eric finding gigs in St. Martin. It's a really great place for big place. for that. We as Americans do have the ability to work there. You do have to do paperwork and stuff, but we will figure that part out.
Yeah.
The Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, if anybody is interested in that. There's a lot of legalese that I don't know.
Now on to our plans for this next year. Obviously we've dipped into the idea of the electric motor and spoken about it a little bit. We have looked into this and researched this more and more and more, and we are on board. We're very excited about the idea of converting this boat to electric. The plan is initially to up our solar a lot, replace the port side motor with an electric kit that I'm going to be getting most likely from Thunderstruck Motors. Going to be building battery packs to power everything. In my heart of hearts, I would love to, by the time we leave St. Martin or wherever we happen to be leaving from to cross the Atlantic, I would like to be full electric. I would like to have the starboard side replaced as well. Now, that might not happen just from a money standpoint, and there is some benefit to doing the hybrid system where we have one diesel, one electric, but there's also some complications there when it comes to control. There's also just the simple fact that it's a 30-year-old motor, and I can envision a scenario where we are limping along on just one electric motor and that one has quit on us. I shouldn't say that because it has been a champ. We've gone, what, something like 2,500 miles now, if not more.
On just the one.
Yeah, just having that one motor. And this is the important thing. I know we're going to get a lot of discussions and a lot of comments about whether or not electric is a good idea. And there's a lot of opinions about it. Some are informed opinions, some are not informed opinions. We believe in it. We're not going to Mars here. This is something that's being done on quite a few boats. There's quite a few success stories out there. There's some that aren't so successful, and there are things to learn from both of those that I intend to study as much as I possibly can. But the fundamentals of it are very sound and very simple and very clean. And I think it's the way things are going.
Right.
And I think it's the way things should go.
And there's just the aspect of these are brand new motors, instead of us trying to rehab the motors that we have, and then no matter what, still being 30-year-old motors.
Yeah.
And we don't have the money to put in brand new diesel motors. So no matter what, we're getting brand new motors, and if maybe these ones don't work out as well in 3 years, then we go back to the brand new.
There's always that option.
But
these aren't 10-year-old Yanmars. They're 30-year-old Volvos.
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's a big difference. It's not only a difference in what I think most people would agree is just quality and reliability. It's the parts available and how much it costs to fix these things.
With the electric motors, we do have to bump up our batteries. We do have to bump up our solar. We do have to do all of that stuff, which is an initial cost, but it's not a hindrance.
You mean like bump?
No, I know, but anything we put into it, more batteries is better, more solar is better, more of that stuff is better. So I would rather put a lot of money into those things that will elevate our boat no matter what, instead of putting it towards diesel motors that maybe won't work.
But that is the plan. We're gonna start putting out a lot more information so you guys can see exactly what we're doing. I'm gonna put together a list of everything that I'm planning to include as components of this system, let y'all know how much it's gonna cost. This is gonna be a lot of work. Yeah.
So basically, the next year, we're going to St. Martin. We're sitting in St. Martin for the year. We'll probably run down to Grenada if things look like it's going to be a really bad hurricane season. But the plan is to make that decision when that happens. And we're basically becoming a refit for the year. We're going to get this boat in tip-top shape. We're going to do interior stuff. We're going to do the kitchen. We're going to do your office. We're doing the motors.
A ton of refinishing, a ton of that kind of stuff.
And we're just really focusing on the things that we need to focus on to get the boat where we need to be so that next year we can cross the Atlantic.
Yeah. Because this is our last season bumming around the Caribbean.
100%. No matter what, we will not be in
Spring of 2025.
Eastern Caribbean.
We're going across the pond.
That is 100%.
So we're focusing all of our energy in this year to having this boat ready, not just to make the crossing, because let's face it, we could cobble stuff together and make the crossing right now, but we would then be in an area that's just very unfamiliar to us, with all these things that still need to be addressed and fixed, and not having the comfort and knowledge of how and where to do them. And it would be a risk going across now, whether this motor would be able to handle it. Putting ourselves in a bad situation like that is just not something we want to do.
I know some people would say that we are crazy and dangerous just even living on this lifestyle, but I think everything that we've done so far, it's like we are more cautious than most.
Frankly, the miles we put in haven't felt that risky because we're pretty darn conservative about how we do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress a lot. The one last kind of announcement, and this one's not a real big deal, but as you've probably noticed, we've been putting out a lot of Tuesday videos. This is something that kind of happens to us once in a while when we get really busy. Things still happen on weekends, and sometimes it just interferes with our workflow. A lot of times we wind up making passages on the weekend for whatever reason. And so we've been putting out videos late. Tuesday turned out to be a day that worked out pretty well for us. So we've decided we're just going to move to Tuesday and make it official. Our last few videos have been on Tuesday anyway. So look for our videos every Tuesday, and then look for little extras here and there.
Like this one.
Like this.
We're going to do some reviews of products and
yeah, those will be standalone videos of their own. I'm going to do more cockpit concerts and things like that.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is we're doubling down on YouTube, and we're trying to make this channel the biggest and the best.
Yeah, I hope you like it. Cheers. Whichever way you're cheering. Alright, guys, we'll see you on Tuesday. A lot of fun stuff to come.